Oh, okay. Hello, and welcome to Upload, the show where we take our collective consciousness and upload it to your mind. Today's episode has the one, the only Bobby Del Rio, the only white guy we care about, Todd Van Allen.
Tucker Carlson has a speech defect.
I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. And, ladies and gentlemen, last but definitely not least, the irrepressible, the incomparable Lewis Taylor.
Hey, onigiri.
What is that? It looks like pot. What is that? Pot? No.
It's onigiri. It's
okay,
a
sure.
Japanese snack food.
Yeah.
By Japanese people.
Dude, it's legal now, man. Like, you don't have to call it stuff.
Oh.
But
someone read a book.
That's what makes this a vanity project, right there.
That's what makes it a vanity project.
Wow.
So, I know we've got actually a full topic list, and we didn't really go over it before, but I do want to talk about Ellen DeGeneres because here's the thing. Because my wife and I are, it's a thing between my wife and I now, where because Ellen DeGeneres has been called out for having a toxic work environment, and it's a very hateful set. And the thing is, her brand is being really kind and nice. She sort of like took on the mantle from Oprah of being like super nice and giving stuff away and being kind to people and all that stuff. And, you know, my wife's like, no, she's obviously like a terrible person. And I'm like, no, she's a good person who runs a large organization, who has a lot of different jobs to do and has a very high level expectation of excellence. And, you know, I think that, you know, her work environment probably isn't more toxic than any work environment in film and in like on talk shows. Like David Letterman, come on, Johnny Carson, Jay Leno, are you kidding me?
Andrew Moodie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying basically is, if you work for me, get ready to be yelled at and called a dick. No, I'm joking.
Look,
You would not believe the talking to that we all get before we hit the air, folks.
We're gonna be excellent.
It is
you
horrible.
Cut your hair, Bobby, and you, Lewis, stop doing drugs. Okay.
What?
I don't know what I mean.
No, but so it's an interesting point, and I really do like your take on it, Moody, because this to me is cancel culture gone too far. Look, I don't know. Maybe Ellen DeGeneres is a bitch. You know, I really don't know. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what's happening. But I do think if we're talking about the perception of the boss from the employee standpoint, every boss is going to be viewed as a toxic boss from somebody's perspective, maybe from multiple perspectives. And so now we're in this culture where anybody can just say, I'm a victim for whatever reason. There's 1,000 different reasons to be a victim. And if you make your case in the public sphere, everyone says, yeah. So where's the adjudication process in all this?
I'm actually going to probably, I have really short-term memory issues, but I think it might be one of the first times I'm agreeing with Bobby.
Wow.
What? I changed my position.
It's qualified. It's qualified. There is something to be said. Like, I've worked on set with a bunch of extremely entitled recent university grads who think that their degree and their sense of hard work entitles them to an entitled attitude. And they themselves create an incredibly toxic work environment, especially around, you know, this is your job, stop moaning about it. And I've talked to all kinds of older professionals who were like, I hate these people. They are so, but at the same time, and this is why it's qualified, I also came up in a system where it was an incredibly toxic, bad male behavior, where it was racist, it was sexist, it was like, hey, I have a dick and I'm gonna put it in your ass. What you gonna do?
I agree.
And it was like,
yeah.
What?
I agree. I think that honestly, the work
metaphor,
environment,
Bobby.
I was going to say, are they hiring?
First in line, please. First in line. You know.
Form an orderly queue right here, boys.
I was going to say that you know, the the work environment on film and television has actually totally become less toxic over the past 30 years. Absolutely. Like, you know, and that's not to say the environments are perfect, but I'm telling you, like, I think that there's a mixture of, I think that there are two things at work here. Like, first off, I'm sure that there are people under her who are assholes and just have go on a power trip with people. And, you know, and I'm absolutely certain of that because that happens everywhere. And I'm absolutely certain that, you know, first off, Ellen DeGeneres is going to treat you awesome if you're Ryan Gosling. You know, she's going to be the nicest person in the world to you. If you are the woman who makes her coffee and you get the order wrong and she says, come on, I've told you 3 times, she's not, you know, she's not going to be awesome to you. And I think too, there's a time pressure in film and television. There's high stakes because a lot of things have to coalesce at the same time. And if something doesn't go right, millions of dollars can be lost. And even on my little short film shoots, there are times when something, especially if there's no money, there are times when something has to get done really quickly and you have to get a bunch of people to do something really fast. And it's not that I'm being a dick, but I have to be very precise with my communication. And I was working with one cinematographer and I'd given her a half hour to set up the shot, but there was one problem. I just needed one thing not in the shot because it's hard to explain. I needed it to be framed in a different way. I gave her a half hour to figure it out and she still didn't figure it out. And I had like 30 seconds to get the shot. And I said to her, come quickly, come with me, turn the camera here and just put it like that. And she was like, what? Wait, but I have to. And I said, you know what? If you could just get that focus, get the light on that person, like within 30 seconds, and because we have to move on to the next shot. She did it, but then she freaked out on me. She didn't freak out, but she just said, you disrespected me. You disrespected me. You made me feel small. You made me feel whatever. And I said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. That was not my intent, but we had to get the shot done. And I don't think she'll ever work with me again. And if you asked her, she would say that was a toxic work environment, or that was a toxic moment of toxicity.
And this is my question. What is toxic? Who's toxic? Who decides what toxic, you know, I
think when you experience it, you know what it is.
No,
we now go to our expert in the field, Britney Spears.
Look,
Nice.
For example.
Wow,
okay,
you're old.
I'm now doing this thing. I've been watching like left-wing media my whole life, and now I'm purposely watching Fox News. And sometimes I vomit a little bit in my mouth, and sometimes I'm like, oh, there's interesting points, right? I'm watching right-wing and left-wing. I'm like purposely getting different perspectives. It's fascinating to me how like Kamala Harris, for example, how the left is like Kamala Harris is the greatest thing in the history of civilization, and the right-wing media is like she's the worst thing that ever happened. And I'm like, how can the same person be characterized so differently? And then you realize that this is just, we're in a society of perceptions, as we always have been, but anything can be viewed as toxic by somebody's perspective.
Look,
right?
That's always been the case. It's always been toxic, or whatever is based on perspective and self-interest. And that has never changed. We are just now seeing it vehemently expressed. There is no middle ground, no opinion that anyone wants to take seriously. I mean, I have no interest in going back to this staid kind of media culture that came from a specific point of view. I actually welcome the plethora of opinions out there. Don't necessarily want to listen to them. But, and this is a point I want, like, I have actually created toxic work environments that, I shouldn't say created, I have added to toxic work environments.
Well, stone soup of toxicity.
Yeah, I mean, there are times when, you know, I came into this industry with, I will admit, a sort of naive, kind of wishy-washy liberalism. And I left it just bitter, angry, and having to get out, or I would have ended up broken. So, and I created an environment of those underneath me. I was basically the second AD on set. I created an environment where people were just like, oh my God.
But also too, that's kind of what I mean, I thought that's the job of the second AD was to be the dick. And because somebody has to, because like on a film set, there's just this inertia, there's this entropy that happens where, and it's nobody's fault necessarily, but if you're organizing a large number of people, things just slow down after a while. And there's somebody has to step up and say, dude, okay, get that light over there. Dude.
I totally agree with you on one level, but totally disagree on another. It's because I have worked with some really great first ADs that like the guy who came on board as my co-director, works as an AD and a director, and he is the calmest individual I have ever seen on set. Yeah. He diffuses the situation. We sit around talking about shit a lot. And that's me, but that takes a very, very special person with a broad life experience. It's not your normal, average, everyday person.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about.